Hello there! Today I will be working on my entry for the Smash Bash Miniatures competition. As a base for my kit bash, I will be using this as a starting point, which is actually something that I started a couple of years ago. It was supposed to be a part of my Gene Stealer cult project. However, I never finished it, so I thought I should recycle the kit bash and try to make something different. While roaming through my bits box yesterday, I found a few bits that I want to use. Among them, this old metal Epidemius from the Nurgle range. You can see that I've already removed its arms and the top of its head, because I was planning to use this for something else, but I think it's perfect for this one. So I was a bit lucky, because the egg shape that I already made is kind of perfect fit for this little guy. So to start, I'm just going to secure it in place. However, I'm not going to use glue, because it's it needs a lot of filling. And also I don't know what else to put on this kit bash, so I'm going to secure it in place with green stuff so that I can move it around a little bit in case I need to shift the pose when I start adding other bits. When I mix green stuff, I like to add a little bit of milliput as well, because it makes the final putty or the green stuff a little bit less tacky, which I think is easier to work with. When the putty is starting to get this homogeneous color, it's ready. So I'm just going to use a little bit of it to get my metal miniature in place. I will also secure it with superglue when I have decided the final pieces to use. But for now, I think this is a smart solution. Okay, so I see that he's hovering a little bit, so I need to put something under here, some sort of chair, something sticking out. Let's see if I have something. Have this giant's hand. Maybe I could secure that one in some way, I don't know, as a chair. If I paint it like the metal, it might be just some piece of statue or some, weird chair design. So that is an option. Another one is this Imperial robot hand. I could trim it down and have it like a children's stool or something that is kind of held in place. Okay, so I trimmed it down a little bit and put it on, like I said, like a children's chair, holding him in place. Of course, I just want the fingers to be visible, I think, so I need to put something in front there to have it merge with the front of the chair. But this is good for now. Alright, so it's a little bit empty on the sides. Of course, I need a new head, I need some arms, and I need something. Yeah, the bottom half is pretty good already, the legs and the back. The classic mechanical symbol is like half skull, half mechanical skull, and it reminds me a little bit of this, anatomical sculpture. So maybe I can use this head for something, as it can be like a mockery of the Mechanicus. So instead of having the metal part, you have like the skinned and the unskinned version, which is a bit more chaosy. This material is difficult to see on the camera, but So let's see if we can use this for something. So I had a few ideas on how to attach this one. I was thinking maybe it could be like on the top of the chair and have a halo around it as the mechanical symbol. But then I could also do something maybe like this to have it a little bit more original. Or I could do something crazy like mismatching them completely, like this, and glue them on. I think that would be cool as well. But I think what I have come up with in the end is kind of having them on each side of the character, so that they are more or less part of the egg, and that he sits inside some weird face chair, which is cool. So I use superglue for almost everything that I do, but here it's especially important because we are working with metal and resin, which you actually can't glue with plastic glue. I found the two options for the heads that I want to maybe use. One is from a Forge World Nurgle Daemon thing, and I really love all these mushrooms, and also it doesn't look that much like a horn, it's more like a little piece of a tree, which would be fun to have growing out of its face. Or this classic Mechanicum or Mechanicus Tech Priest guy, so let's see. I like that this one is kind of in the, yeah, Mechanicum or Mechanicus aesthetic with the split head and also of course the legs. So this would look pretty cool if I trim down the head on the body and have this very fat tech priest. This would of course also slide straight into my Dark Mechanicum project. But I also really like this, just having a plant sticking out. It's yeah, that's definitely fun, and that's definitely more in the thread of the competition, because the competition is not to make it's not like to make anything necessarily from the Warhammer universe. It's just to do a cool kit bash so you can make whatever you want. So I think I'm going to go for the option of the mushroom or the twig head. Okay, now I'm just going to use the last piece of green stuff to merge this horn with the body. So first I'm just going to add some small pieces just where we need to fix a transition. So when I work with green stuff, I like to use metal tools and like these silicone tipped tools to to make some smooth transitions, but I like to start off with a metal tool just to get the rough shape. I also like to lubricate my tools with some just some regular hand cream. So I'm going to start with that, with this spoon side of the tool, this spoon tool. Green stuff is very sticky, so you always need something. A lot of people use water, but I really dislike using water because it doesn't really help with the stick that much, and you also get water all over your miniature. The hand cream, or yeah, you can use Vaseline or something that just sticks to the tool. And of course, if you cover your miniature with a lot of green stuff and you try to paint it and you used a lot of hand cream, the paint won't stick to the figure because it doesn't stick to oils, and therefore you kind of need to wash the figure. But in most cases, at least in my experience, you can just wipe your finger over it after the green stuff have dried, and then you just absorb all of these oils into your fingers. So just do that a couple of times after before you prime it. Also, primers really help. So yeah, in most cases, this works out just fine. Okay, let's see if we can kind of continue these mushroom shapes to have them going down on the front here. Don't have to be exactly like the ones above. I can add some texture and stuff around it, but just to have a little bit of a transition. And then we can try to make a little bit of a face down here maybe. That would be cool. Maybe something a little bit abstract. Maybe we should just try to make some holes like Monk's Scream. So for that I think I will be using a little ball stylus, a small one, and just make, no, I think this, yeah, down here, a little bit of a screaming face with just holes for eyes, and just a little bit of indication of a face. Maybe just put the hole somewhere else as well to make it appear like it's, you need to look a bit for the face to see it. I always like things like that. So it's not like an obvious face. Maybe it's not the face. Maybe it's just random placement of holes. Now that we have most of the details in place, I think we need to work a little bit on the transitions between the faces and the egg. When you see it from the back, you can see that they have very large flat areas here, and I also want to cover. Yeah, so when I made this way back, I just made a base for what I was planning to put green stuff on top of. So this is just some cardboard and super glue, just to have like a, yeah, to merge these two different pieces. So now I will green stuff on top of it, along with green stuffing the face to the egg. So first I'm just adding some little pieces of green stuff to shape it out, basically. I wanted to kind of naturally go from being the face or the mask to become this shell. And then I will just try to shape this out with the spoon side of my tool. So I'm not making it smooth yet. Now I'm just kind of shaping out the shapes that I want. Yeah, maybe some lines to have it kind of, because this side of the face especially has these muscle lines, because it's the face without the skin. I'm looking forward to get some paint on this one, so it's easier for you to see how it actually looks. It's so difficult to photograph and film this white resin. The resin gives a very nice result. It's what I use for the miniatures that I sell in my Etsy store, the range of miniatures that I make, but it is really difficult to photograph. So I think I will be looking for some gray resin instead, if I can find some locally. That's not too much more expensive than the white one. Yeah, so to blend it in a little bit better, I think I need a little bit of texture on the green stuff. So here I'm just stippling on, stippling the surface with a brush to make some more interesting random patterns. Just twisting the brush while I stipple to get different patterns all over. It also softens the details a bit, so if you do it close to what you want to blend it in, you kind of push the green stuff onto the surface you want to cover. And then we can swap to a silicone brush and reapply some of the details that we lost. I also want to mimic the texture of this one, so these little lines, I'm just adding in some of them now on the sharpest edges. Okay, so this is what I have done on the side here. It looks pretty good. I will do the same on the other side when the green stuff has dried, because if I do it right now, I will definitely squash either this side or the face that we did. So now I will start working on the base. So now that I have tilted this one forward a little bit using the pieces of sprue and some glue. This will of course be covered later, but we can do that in one go after we have created a monster, because I want to put some kind of monster on the base. And for that I found some Nurgle pieces, some random Nurgle stuff and a giant's hand. Yeah, let's see if we can make something. First we need like some structure as a base for the monster. I'm not going to use this as a face, but it's got these nice tentacles and a good shape, and these horns that will look cool growing out of the ground. Maybe the arm can just stick out somewhere, or maybe even we can use this part also. Let's see. So, of course, to show you guys easier, I should have done the base before putting this one down. So yeah, what I have thought out are these pieces, and then maybe an arm sticking out, some tentacle, and just, yeah, smooth all of this together with green stuff and glue, I think. Now I have this weird detail more or less smoothed out. So I'm just going to hit the surface with, with this stiff brush, giving it a little bit of texture. I did a little bit more work on this one by sculpting the other side of the shell, or the transition between the face and the shell. And also adding a little lump of green stuff here, where his arm was supposed to be, as well as working a little bit more on the base. So down here I have just glued on more nurgly pieces and brought it together with some green stuff, super glue, and some little round pearls. I want this base to be a complete monster. I want the entire base to be covered with fleshy details, so that when I paint it, it will look like this weird construction is kind of walking through a world that is just covered by monster flesh. So it's a demon world, I picture. Therefore, I need to have some skin texture all the way to the edge of the base, but I don't think I'm going to add any more bits or green stuff. Instead, I think I want to add some skin texture by applying some toilet paper and glue. I'm just using white wood glue for this. If the mixture is too thick, we can add a little bit of water, but it's important to add just a little water at a time until we have a good consistency. I think I'm going to try to apply it with my stirring stick and see how that works. So we need a little bit down here, I think. Then spread it out a little. Something like this. Okay, so here you can see what I'm thinking. Again, it's toilet paper, so it's pure white. I should have added a little bit of paint there as well to make it easier to see. But this will all become very clear once I have primed the figure. The toilet paper and PVA paste has started to dry, and I think it looks very fleshy. So I want to do one last step on the base, and that's actually to add a little bit more of this, but I'm going to apply it in a different way, because now I just want to smooth the transitions between the different pieces. So for example here, where I added some green stuff, the transition between the plastic part and the green stuff is not very smooth, so I want to add a little bit of this toilet paper mix here to make it appear a bit smoother. So what I will do now is just to tear up a few small pieces of toilet paper and have them ready. Now I'm not mixing them with the glue, and then I'm grabbing an old brush and some PVA glue mixed with water. Then I will just lay out these pieces where I want them. For example, as I said, to smooth the transition between the green stuff and the piece. And then I can just paint on top with a brush, water and PVA glue, let it soak in. And this will kind of keep the original shape that I sculpted underneath. But you can see that I kind of smooth out this entire area. So these three lumps that I sculpted are still easily visible, but the whole transition is much better. I left the toilet paper and PVA glue mix to dry overnight, and now it is completely hard. And you can see that it left these nice little textures all around. So I think this is a very good way to texture things. In the future, I think I will use this method for maybe texturing some larger Nurgle miniatures, maybe combine it with my Dark Mechanicum project and use this for, as an alternative to super glue and accelerator. I primed this one with Mornfang brown and then white from above to get a zenithal highlight. As this is going to be some sort of strange abstract Daemon engine, or maybe something from alien technology, I'm not sure yet. But I kind of want it to be a little bit abstract, not just in the kit bash, but also in the color scheme. I have been really enjoying working with contrast paints lately, and I'm still not tired of it, so I'm going to use that here as well. Starting with what I think will be the largest part, that is the chair, which includes the face and this shell on the back here, and also the legs. And I think I want these pieces to be red. So what I will try to do is to paint it red, and then while it's wet, I want to blend in some shadows using brown and black contrast paints, and also some of the contrast medium on the tops to tone it down and maybe create a little bit of a highlight. Oh, I really like this color. It's so strong. It's so very red. Okay, and then some brown. I think brown is dark enough, so I don't think I need the black after all. And then a little bit of the contrast medium. You can see that the contrast medium just kind of removes the top layer of red. So I can kind of use this as a highlight. Okay, I think I want to have this just sit for a little bit of time and then try to wipe away the excess paint to make a little bit of a highlight, but I don't want the highlight to be completely white. I want it to be a little bit pink, so I just want to make sure that the paint is starting to dry. I think now is maybe a good time to try. So I'm just going to wipe away the top layer, trying to follow the shapes of the face. This is of course the face that is that's skinned. The half that is doesn't have any skin on it. So here I can try to follow the muscle lines. So here on the metal parts, or like the painted metal parts, I'm doing the same as I did on the face, but I kind of like this stippling effect. Instead of wiping away the paint, I'm just stippling the tissue on top of it to blend the brown and the red, and also to create this nice little texture. I think what I like best about contrast paints is that you kind of have to work quickly. You can kind of force yourself to just, get some parts of the miniature done. I'm going to use contrast paints for the person as well, or I don't know if I can call it the person, the root, I don't know, mushroom man. So I think I want the mushroom man to be a brown yellowish kind of color. So here I have the dark brown, the wildwood, snakebite leather, and Nostreg yellow together with the contrast medium. I think it turned out a little bit too yellow, so I'm just quickly going to add a little bit of green spots here and there as well to blend it, have it contrast a little bit better to the red. I'll try to remember this combination of the green, brown, and yellow contrast paints in the future, in case I do something more, some basic Nurgle schemes, or maybe some more traditional demons, as this green was actually very nice. Of course, the base is going to be organic, so it's some kind of alien or demonic skin, but I don't want it to be like a normal human skin color, so I'm not going to use any like browns or pinks. Instead I'm going to use blue and green, I think, and make it I think I want it quite dark, so I'm going to use some black, blue and green contrast paints, and also this Colia green shade, which is also quite bluish green. It's so strange how the camera automatically adjusts to just the color. So if it's too much white on here, you can see that everything becomes very reddish. That's actually one of the reasons why I have this cutting mat even when I paint, because sometimes the camera just struggles to keep up. With the black in place, I have covered everything on this miniature, so we have no white primer showing through, I hope. And now I want to go back to the red to make it a little bit more interesting. It's already looking quite nice, but I want to hit it with a little bit more of a contrast. I want some more highlights, and I also want it to appear a little bit more aged and maybe sun bleached. So what I will do is add some spots of Kislev flesh and flayed one flesh. The sponge also picks up details quite nicely. So here where we have the side that is flayed, you can see that I only pick up the raised areas. So it's a very quick way to get some highlights. I think I also want to add a little bit of this light color with a brush. You can test it on your thumb. I like to do that. You can see that it picks up the wrinkles on your finger. That's a nice way to test if the brush is dry enough. Now it's a little bit too extreme, I think, the face, so I want to tone everything down. But instead of using contrast paints, I'm going to use the Games Workshop shades, because they are a lot more transparent. So this will work more as a glaze. It won't darken up the recesses anything, but it will tone down the highlights and make everything a little more pink. With the red shades more or less dry, we can see how the effect turned out, and I must say it worked really well. So instead of having the very bright red we had with only the contrast paint, now we have something which is a much more pink, and it looks very old, and I would say sun-bleached. Now I have watered down the paint quite a lot. And I don't want to apply it the same way as I did the red, because I want it to appear as a different material. I want this to be skin, while I want the other to be some kind of painted metal, or more like a undecided material. So here I am adding the paint more in like a layering fashion. Here I'm also using a little bit of white to make the skin really pop. And onto the little worms, because this body is a Nurgle figure, so of course it does have some belly maggots. I want to introduce a little bit of bluish green color onto the skin as well, to have it match a little bit better with the base, because I want this whole project to be have a very limited color palette. And then it's good to kind of introduce the same colors in different areas. So here I'm just adding a little bit of the Coelia green shade, as it's called, which is it's more green than the ones I used on the base, but it does have a little bit of blue in it, so it kind of draws a parallel down to the base. Now that we have the red and the greenish skin tone more or less ready, I want to apply a little bit more highlights to the base. And now I'm just using the flayed one flesh, the same light bone color that we used on the other colors, to dry brush the base. Oh wow, you can just see how it picks up the toilet paper. Just picks up the creases. Look at that, it's quite nice. That dry brush really brought up all the different textures and highlighted all of these bits that I used. For example, the poxwalker just chilling in there, and the teeth, the toilet paper creases over these green stuff balls, the horns, and I think it looks very cool. But you know, when dry brush something with such a light color, it becomes very rough. So I want to tone everything down again a little bit, and for that I will be using the blue-green, the Colia green shade that I also used sparingly on my root person. With the shades on the base starting to dry, I really like it. I think it looks like some sort of alien planet surface with all these weird little details, or yeah, some demon world maybe. So I think I'm just going to keep it as it is. When I made it, I was thinking that I should maybe paint some of the areas in different colors, for example picking out this little poxwalker or something, but when you look at it from a little bit of a distance, I think it looks very cool just being, yeah, this plain simple color. It also contrasts very well to the red. So I will be using a dark gray as the first highlight color. Skaven Blight Dinge is this one. And again, I will be applying it with a piece of a sponge. As another a bit sharper highlight on the black, I'm going to use Flayed One Flesh again. It's the same color that I used for, yeah, everything else basically. And I still have a little bit of gray on this sponge, so the colors will slightly blend, making a medium gray tone. This is not the medium gray tone, it's yeah, bone color with a little bit of gray in it. Anyway, this one can be very, very light, and I will just apply it to the very, very edges of the black parts. So as a final thing to do, I'm going to add a highlight to the entire piece using pure white and applying it with a very small brush. Now I'm going to be very limited to where I apply it. I'm going to apply it very sparingly, only on the sharpest edges, and I will apply it in a little bit of a stippling motion and some dots here and there, just to have some very tiny reflections. Yeah, like around the bones, around the eye socket there, you can see how it just kind of looks really sharp when you add these white little dots around. With the final sharp white highlight and the base rim done, this miniature is complete and I'm finished with my entry for the Smash Bash competition. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this weird abstract root person in the face chair. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, if you have any suggestions to what you would like to see me do next, please comment below. I really appreciate hearing what you like to see in my videos. I'm looking forward to the next one, and I will see you then. Goodbye.